This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. Here we are, beginning of a new season, officially starting on Monday. We enter the autumn equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. And with that, a different mindset. I almost look at it as a mini New Year's Eve, because when you go from spring to summer, it's a little, weather changes there. You're more active in the summer here and there. When you go from summer to fall, kids are going back to school. It's just a different mindset. If you're thinking about making some changes to your health, we are going to talk about that today, specifically nutrition and how you can get the most out of what you're eating. To get that information, we're going to talk with somebody who has a decade of experience in health, fitness, nutrition. He's got deep background in kinesiology, global health, and coaching as well. So great to have him back with us. Mike Redmond is on the program. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, Steve, and I love the intro there talking about mindset changes because I think when it comes to nutrition, I think we have to have that mindset change. And a lot of people say, "Oh, summer's the time to really start focusing on nutrition for obvious reasons." But I say this is a perfect time to start focusing on it, and anytime, you want to try to make these changes that now rather than wait for the season that suits best. So that's just one of many mindset changes when it comes to nutrition.
Personal question, what'd you have for breakfast?
Today, oh, come on, a great Long Island bagel,
Look at you.
with veggie cream cheese. I mean, and yeah, and guess what? I feel great about it. So, and to me, nutrition is about that. It's not about limiting things you enjoy eating. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. So you can enjoy some of the things you like to eat. It's more about let's not overdo it, let's not overdo it.
It's so funny. I'm laughing
Yeah,
inside because I today, this is not every day, the complete opposite of that bagel with a schmear, as they say in New York.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I made a smoothie with fresh banana, blueberries, protein power, but plant-based. First time I've ever done that. It's usually whey, almond
Okay.
milk. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. And, blended it up and it was delish. I had a cup of tea with that. Doesn't happen always, but
Beautiful.
yeah, just but
That,
even with that, I wonder about it. I have a friend that's like,
mhm.
yeah, the protein powders, don't even bother with those. Uh, What are your thoughts? Because I
Yeah.
I need protein like all of us.
Yes. I would say, the whey protein stuff can factor into what else you're eating. Definitely consult, a health professional. A registered dietitian is a great resource for those kinds of things as well. But I'd say it depends what else you're eating. If you know you're not getting a lot of protein from meats, then it's a solid way to go.
Okay.
However, whey protein, I'd say, is a good trusted brand. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of proteins and creatines and pre-workouts and this stuff.
Yep.
I would exercise caution on a lot of those things because of how the system is. Because we know sometimes what's in those bottles isn't always as advertised.
Sure.
And it's very hard to regulate some of these supplements. Supplements are not regulated the same as food. So we
Hmm.
have to come to that fact. It stems from things that have happened in Congress. I can't remember to cite the actual acts that are in there, but there is acts when it comes to supplements, and
Wow.
it deals with how they are regulated. So things that have stemmed back that I've learned 10, 20 years ago, in college, but there's truth to it. So exercise, I always recommend exercise caution with those things, with what you're putting in, because it may not work as advertised. These supplement companies are good at what they do, which is advertising. But what's in there, sometimes I'm just gonna be honest, sometimes there's junk in there. There's
Wow.
junk in there, and it's not the healthiest stuff for you. So that's my take.
Gotcha.
That's my experience. But I'd say, if that's the way to go for you, and you put in a scoop of whey protein in your shake, it does sound delicious.
And it
So,
was okay.
and
And
if it
I only
works,
pivoted to plant protein powder because I
yeah,
was thinking, you know what? Maybe I'm, a little bit too much dairy. Like if you have yogurt, then you have a smoothie.
yeah,
There's a lot of dairy going on there. Let's go to
yes.
protein. What would you recommend as an amount for a day in an adult? How much?
Ooh, um, there are actual official guidelines on this. So it depends on what else you're having in your diet, but usually protein is anywhere from that uh 15, 25%. I want to go much higher than 30, 35% of your diet. So I like to talk to it in terms of that way, percentages rather than actual grams, because everyone's a little different on grams. So let's talk about,
Hmm.
your diet for you. We have to get down to an individual basis and find out. We can find out how many specific grams for you, Steve, but we got to do some more analysis that way first. So, but in in general, yeah, it's around, I would say, US guidelines state anywhere from that 15 to 30% range. It depends what else you're having, how much carbohydrate you're having, how much fat you're having. That's right, fat is a part of your diet too, whether we like it or not. and, and we got to try. There's healthy fats, avocados, different things. So it depends on the percentages of those things as well. If you want to go a little higher on carbohydrates, which actually at times I recommend for clients, because carbohydrates help fuel the brain and they help fuel your body for physical activity. So if you're going a little higher, 50 or more percent on your carbohydrates, your protein might be closer to that 15, 20% range. It
Hmm.
depends. It depends on a number of factors. So, but I always try to talk about it in percentages and then figure out, what's in it for you. We have to get to nutrition is not a one-off factor for everybody. It's not a one size fits all model. It is a complete individual model. Yes, there are guidelines. Yes, it's like we know there are certain things that are healthy and not healthy for us, but it's so much more individual. We have to find out, like, if you want to go that route, we have to find out how many specific grams and stuff for you. What percentage of the diet you can have of protein for you. So I like to think in terms of that model, and that's the shift that I'm talking about.
You know what's
Uh,
interesting? You said with carbs, and isn't it funny too that a lot of these words um, is part of marketing messages as well. The word fat back in the day, oh, stay away from fat, fat, low fat, everything, no fat, no fat. But we need
yeah,
fat. And then same thing with
yeah,
carbs, carb, bad thing, keto, keto, keto. Um,
yeah.
you said that carbs fuel the brain. And there's been times, even in the last few months, where I was intentional about eating less carbs. I might have I buy some prepared meals. Maybe at some point we'll get to that. Buy a place locally that makes them fresh. I think it's good, a little pricey, but I don't cook and just gets the job done. And I picked a few of them that could be lower in carbs, and I would be a little lower than or considerably lower in carbs during the day. And my brain, I can't function. Like I'm trying to think. I got brain fog. I didn't know the carbs were like brain power. Just learned that from you.
Most certainly. The way it's carbs, when it comes to digestion, and again, a registered dietitian can go in much more detail than me on this. I try to stick to more general overviews of nutrition, and that's where my coaching focuses on. And then again, focusing on the individual level. Um, what can we mix in? I work alongside dietitians. I don't take from them. So, and I think that's the way to go about a lot of health coaching with this route. Um, but but again, I would say, yeah, what we know is when it comes to digestion, carbohydrates, it's complex, but it goes to the brainstem. It goes to the brainstem, and that's a path, and it helps those things, brain power, like you're talking about. It helps physical activity. It gives you that fuel and energy, and that's what your body wants, and that's why you need almost more carbohydrates in general, than anything else. Again, the different people are going to have different circumstances. A doctor or dietitian may work with someone and say, hey, let's cut your carbohydrates down. And it depends on their individual circumstance. But in
Hmm.
general, carbohydrates, your body needs, and your body uses that as its first line of fuel and defense. So,
Wow. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And carbohydrates are funny. People think, oh, when I say carbohydrates, they immediately think, oh, so we have to eat more pasta. Not in that sense. Carbohydrates, guess what, are found in a lot of vegetables. A lot of vegetables. So it depends, there's difference. There's complex carbohydrates, there's simple, simple carbohydrates can mean those things like pastas and sugar and things like that. Whereas the complex, those are good stuff too.
Well, look at the
That can be
smoothie
found.
with that fruit,
Yes,
the
yes.
banana, the strawberry, the blueberries that I had today. Um,
Great source of carbohydrates
I'm
right
going to say
there.
that was a carb. I don't want to say overload, but there's a lot
No,
of carbs in there. But it's natural
yeah,
sugars, I got to believe. And I've often heard too that a banana is the fruit with the highest glycemic index. It's got the most, and it depends on how ripe it is, but it's loaded with.
yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Where I'm going with that is it's one of those that contains a lot of carbs, a lot of natural sugars, and don't overdo it. So I don't overdo the banana thing. I'll do
and
half a
and
banana.
some and some natural vitamins too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important. That's kind of my model. In general is let's not overdo it. Let's not
Mm.
overdo it. It is so easy to overdo these things. For instance, when it comes to, again, to protein powders. Oh, let's add in 5 scoops. Let's add in 5 scoops. Are we really working out that hard? Because that could be a recommendation for like Olympic weightlifters and things
Mm.
like that. They might need the extra scoops. The average person, me, you, someone that's just getting back into an exercise routine, someone that's just getting back into trying to be a little more active or trying to watch a couple more things, we don't need the extra. We don't need the extra.
Mm.
So let's stick to the guidelines. Let's, yes, half a banana with a cup of fruit, with a little protein in there, with, a yogurt. That sounds very balanced to
Mm.
me. So, and that's what we want to focus on. Again, everybody's circumstance is different, and that's where working with other health professionals comes in key too. We can work alongside each other, to find out the perfect circumstance for you.
So
So,
you're not
yeah,
a registered dietitian.
no,
However, you've got deep knowledge in a lot of this, and
yeah,
other times we'll talk about fitness and training and things
yep,
like that. Focusing
yes.
on nutrition today, would you work on yeah, a nutrition plan for somebody? I'm trying not to say the word diet plan because diet is just, what
Yeah. No,
it's
I don't use
really,
that word. I don't use that word. I think diet is a taboo word for me personally. I don't like to use that word because I believe the word diet can set you up for failure. So, and that's what it's meant to do. It emphasizes something more short term. It emphasizes something restrictive. It
mm,
emphasizes something we're cutting things out. We are setting something up to lose something really fast. And that's not how I operate. I want to do, I like the word lifestyle modifications or nutritional modification, or let's work on a plan together where we're not cutting so much out as more in figuring out the right balance for you.
Mm.
Um, and yeah. So that's kind of where I don't always set up individualized, plans. Like I'm not going to sit there and tell people, oh, you need to eat this, you need to eat that. I think you want that information. Again, I'll work alongside and even refer people to registered dietitians. What I can do is set up a plan to where we're figuring out, okay, what's balance mean to you? What do you feel like you're having right now that you shouldn't? What do you feel like you're having right now that you should, or not having right now that you should, and go from there.
You know,
So,
you walk the walk and talk the talk because when I asked you what you had for breakfast, to be honest, wasn't expecting you saying a bagel with cream cheese,
yeah.
which illustrates we don't have to deprive ourselves. If there's balance. Now, if you have a
Yeah.
bagel every single day,
Right.
probably not the best. And there was a time I
No.
remember memories coming back. I would have the classic, buttered roll or donut in the morning before I realized all of this. I'm going to share what happened. So this is, I would say I was in my low 30s and didn't really know anything about balance and protein and things like that. And one day I had that for breakfast. I had more carbs later. I went to an Italian restaurant, had pasta, then I had a dessert with it. Went home, again, low 30s, and I passed out in the bathroom. And I I went, for full workups, heart and everything. Nothing came back. Everything was fine. I believe I just didn't have enough protein and I just kind of crashed from all those carbs. And shortly thereafter, I went fishing with my friend, stopped by a convenience store, got a hero with a lot of meat on it. And I was like, I ate it. I'm like, what? Oh, I feel good. I feel much better. Wait a minute, it's the protein. Oh, okay. And that was the beginning of me realizing, gotta have protein. Gotta have protein with everything. But it's balance, right?
Exactly. It's not, sometimes there's that carb overload where it elevates things in your body, and
Yep.
yeah, it can,
Yep.
your blood sugar levels they were maybe very low and then spike. I don't know. Hard to say in that moment. We got to do tests, different tests to find that out. You got to do blood draws and things like that to really figure out what happened there.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, yeah, what we do know in general, um, you need all those things. You need some protein in your diet. You need some carbohydrate in your diet. You need some good healthy fats in your diet. And you
Mm.
get those from I love saying, I love advertising the rainbow plate. That's what I recommend to people. The more color you have on your plate, the more balanced it can become, and the better you're gonna feel. Like you said, you had all those carbs and you felt like you were missing something, and
Yeah.
then you go back and you get some protein in, and your body feels it and you feel better. And that's it. People are gonna say, oh, the hero, the bread, the this, oh,
Mm.
there's too much when it comes to nutrition. There can be so much misinformation and so much out there that's trying to advertise a one size fits all model,
Yeah.
and I just don't believe that's the way to go. um, and I preach the same stuff for fitness and physical activity. We have to figure out what works best for you. We have to, in all three of those pillars, in fitness, in health, and nutrition. And guess what? The other two, the fitness and the nutrition, impacts your health. So they're all connected. They're all connected. Um, and so nutrition to me doesn't mean, oh, we need to cut out bread and we need to cut out this and we need to cut out milk. And, come on, that used to be a thing back in the day too.
Oh my gosh. Let's go there. All of these things that we've heard over years, like for example, I think it was back maybe like 20 years, and then some butter. It was like, "Butter's bad. Don't do stay away from the butter."
Right.
And then the butter substitutes, like I can't believe it's not
Believe it's
butter
not butter.
and the margarine and everything. And I have a friend who is into nutrition and a trainer and all of that. And he actually jumped on that bandwagon back in the day, and he,
Mm,
retracted and said, that was wrong. Butter, have butter. It's the same thing with meat. Red meat, cholesterol, bad, bad, bad. Well, where did that come from? Probably the
yeah.
Farm Association getting us to eat more vegetables and find protein sources there as opposed to meat. Yes, we should be eating
Or it's
vegetables,
just
but
some fad that started by some, either a trainer or someone else saying, "Oh, maybe it worked for them and they feel great." But I'll say red meat, that's one of the main sources where we get iron, and our body needs iron too. It doesn't
sure.
need a lot of it, but it needs it.
Hmm.
Some red meat once in a while. In fact, I was low on iron a couple years ago, and the doctor said, "Eat a rare steak."
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
love it myself.
Other than that, if you can't do that, we got to do an iron supplement. So it just depends
Yep.
the route you want to go. And I'm like, rare steak sounds good to me.
Just maybe not overdo it. Like maybe
Exactly.
for me,
Exactly.
every 3 weeks I'll have one, depending, where I am, what I'm doing. But I'm more mindful of
Absolutely.
it. So let's say if I had a hamburger on a Tuesday, I might not have a steak or something on a Wednesday or Thursday. I might just, not overdoing it, but there's still a place for it. And just a side note, I recently heard this. You talk about the rainbow on your plate. Somebody I spoke with who is a Reiki master, so energy healer. I know we're pivoting a little woo here, but
Yeah. No, that's
th-
still up my alley. I like these kind of
they
things. So,
said now we have seven major chakras, i.e., energy centers in our body,
okay.
and each is assigned a color. And that's the way it is, and I don't, I forget what the colors are between the solar plexus and the heart chakra and all of that. But they said that when you eat foods that the color of the food addresses that chakra, it's more in alignment with the energy coming from that food into that, call it energy center chakra in your body. And I was like, I never realized that. And they said, yeah, it's a thing. So be aware. That's
Beautiful.
why you also want to have that rainbow on your plate. There's another reason, energy.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, and there's a couple different meanings of energy, right? Because all that rainbow food is giving you energy and different vitamins, and
Yep.
that's the main reason to do it. Your body's getting the different kinds of energy to use and the different vitamins that
Yep.
it needs. Because you look, we have a whole list of vitamins and minerals that we need in our body that we need from diet. There's some that are produced naturally in our body, and then there's the ones that we need to get from our diet. Now, in diet in that regards, I mean just the food we're eating, the food we're eating. So
We're just about out of time. There's so much to talk
yeah,
about, even next time. Like
yeah,
you said the word supplements. We'd love to go down that road. Certainly
yes,
with fitness and stretching and all of that. Now you're located Long Island, New York. You can work with
correct.
people one-on-one personalized coaching. I would assume in
Yep,
person, but also virtually. You
yes,
can help somebody out anywhere. How do we find you, Mike?
yes. Redmondwellnessco.com. So that's the best way to reach me. There's a free assessment on there, which has some nutritional topics on it, and they can take the assessment, and then once that, it'll send a direct line to me, and we'll book your free consultation. So first consultation is free, and then we can start working together on that balance, on that plan. So
Terrific.
redmondwellnessco.com. Yep.
I think you're fantastic. Much respect,
Thank
but
you.
I have to tell you, I respect you even more for having that bagel this morning.
Hey,
We don't have to deprive ourselves. We just have to be
no,
smart and I want to
yes.
change
Like you
it.
said, don't do it every day, but enjoy. Once in a
Beautiful.
while, let's enjoy.
I'm having a bagel tomorrow. It's been so long.
They're
Um,
too good out here not to.
Agreed. Mike, thank you so much. We'll catch up next time.
Yep, take care.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.